Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to Morning Brew. Yes, I'm on Sunday, and I actually went on an hour early because I figured Salty would be going on longer. So I'm here, and yeah, let's see here. Good morning, excuse me. Good morning, Dave G Sound. All right. Good morning, Mega Cropper. Let's see here. Good morning, Eric Sander. How are you this morning? I think I don't know where you're from, Mega Cropper. That whatever. I can't think right now. I need more coffee. Anyhow, what's going on, everybody? Just kind of hanging out, chilling out today. May end up throwing out the link to the stream sooner, but so what does everyone have planned for today? Anything special special going on? I know somebody in chat over on Salty Stream was talking about things I could do to keep from the silent pauses, and quite honestly, without a co-host, and I'm going to continue saying that, yeah, you're either going to have to deal with pauses or, yeah, find somebody to help. That's really all there is to it. So, I mean, I may be able to edit them out later if I care to do so. But yeah, until that time, deal with pauses. It's gonna happen. Dave G. Sims is taking down my Christmas tree and lights today, and regular Sunday chores. Yep, yep, that's how it goes. Anything else going on? Anyone doing anything interesting or exciting today, or just something typical? Doesn't matter. I know most people either have already taken down their Christmas tree or are going to be taking it down soon. Um, unless you're one of these people who like having it up all year. If you do, that's your business. Hopefully, you have an artificial tree. Otherwise, you've got a tree growing in your house because, yeah, that would not be safe if it were a cut tree. But yes, as I said, pauses happen. Unfortunately, I have other things to do as well as talking on here. Let's see here. Blasting the stream loudly for my wife's benefit. Yeah, one of those days. And hello, Dr. Alex. How are you this afternoon? And good morning, Mr. Lundell. How are you today? Anyone have anything interesting going on? Let's see here. It is January 9th, 2022. Yep. Or as I prefer to call it, 2020 Part 3. I'm not going there. Not going there today. So, yeah, I guess we're having a stream of silence. Go. That pinned to the chat. There we go. That's taken care of. No, no, I do not do New Year's resolutions. I kept my most recent New Year's resolution 15 years ago, I believe, or more. No more New Year's resolutions. That was the last New Year's resolution I made. So I've managed to keep it for a long time. Fuck New Year's resolutions. Uh, I've noticed I've been exploring the delights of Rumble, plus still editing season 13. And eating lunch now. How are you? I'm doing all right. I don't know a damn thing about Rumble, so you may want to tell me about it. Dave G. Sound says, I do know resolutions. If it's worth doing, you just do it. Exactly. You got to make a big deal of it. It's like, oh, I'm making a New Year's resolution to uh, eat more pizza. Because sorry, I'm not going to do something stupid. Um, yeah. Well, if I don't do it, I don't do it. But I'm sorry. My opinion, New Year's resolutions are idiotic. Rumble is like the conservative YouTube. Are we how conservative are we talking? I mean, are we talking like? Because I hate to say it, there are some really wacko conservatives out there. I mean, really wacko conservatives. Just as wacko as the wacko liberals. What we need is a fair and balanced area to go to where you can actually express your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings, whatever, and not have to worry about censorship and not have some stupid bot putting in a wiki link if you say something questionable. I mean, a fucking wiki link. Why? I don't get it. Targets for the new year ahead. Possibly. Possibly. However, my mind, if you're going to do something, you just do it. You don't need an occasion to say, oh, I'm going to choose to do the right thing, or I'm going to choose to do whatever. Because I know a lot of people resolve to quit drinking or smoking or whatever the hell it is. And I agree, Rumble is an interesting choice of name. Uh, well, let's see here. Been going for about 15 minutes. Nobody's really interested in talking, except Dave G. Sound, who's in the chat. Mega Cropper has said some things, but yeah, for the most part, it seems like ah, cool. So I could actually speak facts and not have to worry about somebody like YouTube coming along and censoring it because it's not whatever. Yeah, you're eating, Dr. Alex. You're eating. Don't worry about it. find it funny. I've not heard anything, even though somebody said they were going to, or they wanted to suggest some things. Well, Dave, don't say anything in chat that you wouldn't want your wife to know, because number one, she can read. It's not that difficult. I mean, if she needs glasses or something, that may be different, but I don't know. My question though is, I don't know what to ask. Oh Lord. Oh, at least we got somebody. I'm gonna have to figure out how to put a timer on him, but till that time, we've got NB Geek, and I'm going to get coffee. So.
All right. Get the coffee. Wait a minute. If you're getting coffee, where's the coffee mantra? Wait a minute. Did he just leave me here by myself?
AJ has a question for you.
Well, I would talk. Unfortunately, I just had my son automatically come up and ask me a question. So I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Dave G Sounds, Naked Fame, nice to meet you. Bird of Prey 5, Kapla. And why the hell aren't you up here taking charge like you should be? So hope everyone's having a good weekend. It was cold here. Actually, it was pretty freezing here for a while. And then today, I nearly bust my ass letting my dogs out to go to the pen because all the freaking water is been frozen on the ground is now finally lifting up. Now, my fucking yard just is like a slip fest. I mean, I swear to God, I think it could almost be. I swear to God, I think if I ran a sprinkler right now, it'd be you could do a slip and slide without the slide. Take advantage. It got down to 65 last night. 65 Fahrenheit. I think for us, it got down to 14, 15 degrees Fahrenheit. What about you, Cap? How cold to get over in your neck of the woods?
I don't really know. I hadn't been paying too close of attention. Cold. Right now it's 27, so it was colder.
Bye, honey. Drive safe.
And good morning, Naked Fame, Houston, Texas. 65. Wow, you lucky bastard.
Yeah, poor guy was struggling. He probably had to do something like, I don't know, put a short sleeve shirt on. I mean, the horror. I actually got lucky. I planted my. We went ahead and we're trying to see if we can replant our Christmas tree. And fortunately, I got it planted right before this freeze came. Otherwise, there'd have been no way. There'd have been no chance in hell I'd have been able to dig in that frozen dirt.
And good afternoon, Dr. Alex. How are
Hey,
you?
Dr. Alex, how are you, sir?
I'm trying to get myself centered. Am I centered? Yeah, I'm good. I've just finished my lunch. Yeah, I thought I'd leap in since it seemed to be kind of quiet. Although I see Grandpa Geek is already there.
Yeah, I'm going to be here for probably 20, 30 minutes, maybe at best. And then I'm going to go watch my favorite serial killers last episode. And then I got to drive into Illinois. I am kind of excited. I do want to see how Dexter New Blood ends. I've been very much enjoying this season.
Sorry, did you say Dexter?
Yes, Dexter.
Yeah, I know the series. I haven't seen a single one.
I watched the series sometime after it ended. Hey, Mr. Lundell, how you doing, sir?
All right.
Hello,
How's
Mr.
Uhura doing back there? She comfy?
I hope so.
Negative Fame, I'm sorry you're not enjoying Dexter New Blood. I've actually been very much enjoying it. I watched Dexter, I think, a couple of years after it came out. I was going to my library on the base, and I was just grabbing series because they were free. So I would just check them out of the library and started watching it. A lot of people didn't like how the series ended. I can totally understand why. And I kind of like the fact that they did bring it back. I've been enjoying it. It's nice to see. Well, it's just nice to see when you have actors who can actually slip back into their roles and almost feels like they never left. Like I said with Cobra Kai, I mentioned this to the guy who plays Kreese in Cobra Kai, and I made the comment. It's like you guys just slip back in these roles like the '80s were just a couple of weeks ago.
I have a question for you, Mr. Lundell. I'm sure you don't go on Twitter very often. However, I have seen some people discussing the fact that not only Christine Chapel, but Uhura were actually trans.
What?
Yeah.
They weren't actually women.
On Twitter?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
They weren't actually women, according to some of these.
Okay, Roddenberry banged both of them. They both have kids, so that right there is suspect. Okay, so
How dare you question Roddenberry's preferences?
and trust me, does that look like a guy? Are you that fucking blind? Well, maybe this one looks like a guy. And Mirror Universe, we're not going to even go over there. Okay.
I don't know. I got to admit, I did like her outfit in the Mirror Universe.
Yeah, me too. I don't know.
Kind of hard not to, pun intended.
Wherever that came from, somebody's drinking Drano. All right.
You have to keep in mind these are not actually the LGBTQ community people that actually give a shit about it. These are the liberal advocates who are talking about it. It's like, go fuck yourselves. I mean, come on.
That's Captain. That's when you actually have to ask him. Did you ever watch an episode of TOS? Ever? I mean, ever?
Well, I love TOS, and I know that. Yeah. Even though Doctor, even though Nurse Chapel was in love with Roger Corby, which they did mention in one episode, and interested in Spock. Yeah, she was a man. Sure, why not?
Oh, that's okay. That's okay, Captain. I saw one. I didn't see that one, but I saw the one where they were like, "Oh, both Spock and Kirk are bisexual." I'm like, okay, what fucking universe are you living in? And can you please just go back there?
It's funny you're talking about this because the very same thoughts about the way people view characters now was going through my head just today. Because bizarrely, I'd watched a Doctor Who episode yesterday, obviously, from the 70s, 72. It was a John Pertwee one. But there were two male characters in that, two security guards on the space station in The Mutants, in fact. Stubbsy and another guy, but they were clearly really good friends. But what struck me at the end of watching it all was, my God, anyone watching it now would automatically assume that these two guys must be gay because they are good friends working together in a close environment. It's like, whoa. Men can be friends. Men can be really close and supportive of each other without shagging each other. I mean, or even anyway being interested in doing that.
Yeah.
So, and I just do wonder if the mentality of this, well, whatever crowd is promoting this right now, what the hell is wrong with you? Can you not have same-sex friendships? Have you never heard of that before? It does make me a little bit worried for the sanity of humanity.
Well, I mean, if you remember back, they did the same stupidity like in the 90s. Okay. They wanted to say, for instance, Lincoln was gay because he shared a room with in earlier, in his earlier years, he shared a room with a guy.
Yeah,
What Lincoln,
most people back then.
Log in the privacy of his own room is up to him.
Well, that's okay.
The thing is, though, back in that day, it was
Yeah, I
not
know what you mean.
uncommon for men to go to a place, to cabin for the night and share a bed together.
Yeah,
that was not uncommon.
Mm.
That was very common. So, but people would just assume now that, oh, they must have been all get why because they shared a bed together. That was a common thing. These idiots, I'm gonna call them that, or idiots, they take what they think now and try to put that on the past and try to modernly spin it when it's like, no, that's not how it worked back then. Cultures evolve. We evolve over time. There was a cultural difference back then than there is now. It's just the way, we progress as a society. But they try to take what they view, which is completely fucked up half the damn time, and say, oh, well, this is proof. Did you, actually, without doing any research on history?
Yeah, they have no context. They have no concept of context. They don't realize reading would help this generation. I gotta say this generation. It's not just one generation, but there has to be a higher concentration of them in the younger crowd. Reading would help so much to be able to visualize, to empathize with people of the past, because that's their thoughts crystallized on paper. Read some older books. Read some H.G. Wells. Read some Arthur Conan Doyle. Hello, what's he holding up? What's he got?
This is something my kids were reading. My wife actually read it. They're reading this at my kids' school because my kids started private school this last week. And this is Meet Thomas Jefferson. It's I'm gonna read this today. It'll probably take me an hour. My wife said it was fantastic. She learned so much about Thomas Jefferson. One of the things she thought was really amazing was he lived to see America, the country he helped create, become 50 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine that idea? You know, the nation you helped create, and you see it go for 50 years. I mean, and I think he died shortly afterwards. And there was another president. I think my wife said Monroe was also the other president who was there with him, and they both died shortly thereafter.
Yeah. I think on the same day, in fact.
So
It was,
I love reading. I absolutely love reading history because it's amazing the things you find out. I mean, my wife said the last 4 chapters of this book is like she just learned so much about Thomas Jefferson. She had no clue.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, reading is really freaking important. But reading the words and thoughts of people who were there at the time is just as important. And
Oh,
not
yeah.
just rejecting their, even fiction, rejecting their fiction because it's 50, 100, 200 years out of date. Read Jonathan Swift, read Gulliver's Travels. It's still got things to say about humanity now. You can
Here
read
is-
it and get messages out of that.
Here's
like
the problem. They're not taught to empathize. They read it from their perspective. If they do read it, they read it from this idiotic perspective that it's like, oh, well, they must mean this. No, fucking read it.
One of
Read
the
it
biggest
with a fucking open mind.
Uh-huh.
one of the best, you really want to get an idea of the Civil War, for example, is one, reading it through history, sure. But one of the real things that'll really captivate you is reading the correspondence from the soldiers and the families.
Yeah.
That's really when you because you're reading the words of them.
Sullivan Ballew's letter to his wife.
Yes.
Probably the most powerful thing you can read from that era.
Now say that one again. I know what it is, but just say it again real quick. Sorry, Mr. Lindo.
Sullivan Ballew.
Yes, Sullivan Ballew. It was one of those things when you read these correspondence, these letters that they would send back to their families and their families would send to them. You can really read into the power of the word that they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it really gives. I'll tell you one of the best series I ever read, and it was historical fiction. Was the series
Right.
It was three books, but one of the main one that you probably have heard of is Gods and Generals. Oh, that was a fantastic book. But when we look at it, when you brought up an interesting, Dr. Alex, some of my favorite stories come from H.G. Wells.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I think I read them late. No, some of them I read as I was still a kid. I know I read the Time Machine when I was still in school. Many of them I read a lot later. But yeah, God, I love H.G. Wells, and he was a social commentator as well as more in equal part to being a science visionary. You can't write good science fiction unless you've got an eye for humanity, history, how we interact with each other. That's how he was so brilliant. I mean, go on.
I still think Time Machine is one of the best written time travel books ever. I mean, it really just has a great story. It's kind of simplistic, but it really goes into a lot of details. And it really just, it was an interesting when you get to the future and it's, devolved to the Morlocks and the Elors and how that all happened. And it was like, damn.
Let me put it to you this way, Becca Cropper. Even NB Geek is too intelligent to believe in that.
Oh God, no.
Flat earthers. So that's just.
I met one of those once, and I just said, "Get the fuck away from me." It's like when I met I met a guy. This is the one thing since I'm a conservative, a lot of people think that they'll say things like, "Oh, you're a QAnon guy." I'm like, I didn't even know what the fuck QAnon was until you all started labeling us with it. I met a QAnon guy once. I listened to it for like a minute, and I said, "Okay, dude, you're not a conservative. You're just fucking nuts."
Yeah, I had never heard of the QAnon myself until liberals started bringing it up.
What the hell is it?
It's a damn. All it is it's a website, and it's basically conspiracies are us.
Oh, for
Everything,
fuck's
everything from JFK to Bigfoot to
They're nuts.
black
Look,
helicopters. Just, I
just
mean,
think Alex Jones. Think Alex
yeah,
Jones. Think
uh-huh,
Alex Jones.
yeah.
That's how fucking nuts they are. They're Alex Jones level of nuts.
No,
And Alex Jones is not a conservative. I don't care.
Alex Jones look sane. Some of them. Okay.
And Alex Jones is not a conservative. I don't care what he says. He's not a conservative.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
don't know
I want to
what
take
he
I
is.
want to take issue in a friendly way with something. I think it was Captain Trek when we were talking about Rumble right at the beginning, and he said it was conservative tube. And I'm thinking, I know why you're saying that. I mean, it's the same with BitChute. BitChute, by the way, is a failed enterprise. That never got off the ground properly, and it's still as crap as it was when I last used it a year ago. But Rumble and BitChute, yeah, there's a lot of weird fringy stuff out there, and Alex Jones level stuff on there. But then so was YouTube when it first started out. I mean, there was a lot of freaky stuff in these media platforms when they first start out. We shouldn't dismiss Rumble as conservative tube, because it's just as likely to find a voice for weirdos of all political persuasions, not just conservatives. But over time, it will get a small, increasing core of better content, as long as we don't just throw it out the window and dismiss it straight away, is what
Right.
I'm hoping. Anyway.
If you, I'll give you a fun example here. If you look up on Wikipedia, and I just use that because Wikipedia is one of those editing sites, and that's why, in college we weren't allowed to use it as a source for obvious freaking reasons. But if you go on there and you look up Twitter and you look up Wikipedia, it'll say, social media platform. If you look up Gab or Parler, it's going to say far right, alt-right media content.
Mm-hmm.
It will literally say that right at the front. It's like, because people left Twitter and joined Parler and joined Gab or joined Getter, which I don't know Getter. I'm on Gab and I'm on Parler, mainly because I like having access to a wide variety of information. And I like being able to, because I'll find things on Gab and I'll find things on Parler I won't find on Twitter. And it's a great way to get, a lot of information about things. But, it's labeled that way because it's, they're labeling it that way because it's like, oh, well, these are people that don't want to be on Twitter because Twitter bans them. It's like, okay, that's why people go to other sites. I sometimes wonder if any of these people who talk about, well, if you're not using Facebook and Twitter, you don't know what to do. I'm like, do you remember MySpace?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you remember MySpace? It used to be a thing. I don't know if it still is anymore. I don't even think I can log into my account. I wouldn't even know what my login handle was anymore.
But labeling one group as one thing, and that is one thing as their identity, is kind of the very nature of bigotry as well, which is the laughable part of it. It's like, yeah, you're tanning everyone with this really inaccurate brush. Great.
Well, what's always funny is, I can't speak for all cultures, but generally in American culture, the more you tell us not to do something, the more we're inclined to go do it. There's just something about our nature. We don't like being told what to do.
There's a definite plus side to that, yeah.
I mean, I like it. I actually have met other people. I've actually found some people that are on Gab and Parler that, I've talked with that have YouTube channels that I didn't even know about, that I've watched a couple, and they're enjoyable. They're political. They're more my thing, but they're enjoyable. I came across a really great guy that I just started following on Twitter. I believe he's called the Black Conservative Voice, and I love his content. Absolutely love his content.
Yeah, what you're saying is you want a balance of different opinions, yeah? You want a variety of different opinions here, not in one freaking echo chamber, yeah?
I could never. I suck at echo chambers. I mean, I'll be the first one to admit, as conservative as I am and as Republican as most of my family is, I do have to correct them a lot on politics and things because they just assume they know what they're talking about. And I'm like, nope, you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. And I do that I do that a lot. And sometimes it pisses my family off, but I'm like, hey, you're wrong. I know what I'm talking about here.
I am apolitical and centrist, if anything, but I tend not to tie my colours to any one political mast. But I was definitely following a lot more of the what you call left wing stuff, Rachel Maddow and the Young Turks, and there was some interesting stuff on there. But there was obviously wrong stuff as well, factually wrong stuff on there. That I have the stats. Actually, finding stats online that are accurate is not that hard. And I put comments on Young Turks videos saying, actually, these are the stats for crimes by ethnicity that you are saying are bullshit, but this is actually from this reputable source. And I've had those comments deleted multiple times because I've set the same comment up more than once. Oh, it seems you dropped this one with an actual link to a source and stats you disagree with, but I put it back up again and again and again. So yeah, the far left is perfectly happy to whitewash the truth as much as the far right, of course, will, because extremists of all colors don't political colors don't really like contradiction. Facts. That's a little bit more bold than I was going for, but yeah, sure, facts.
Well, and I mean, changing the subject here. Did you guys hear the CW's up for sale?
Yeah.
Who's going to buy that shitty network?
Why?
What does CW stand for? I'm really out of touch.
Oh, shit. I don't know what CW stands for. I know CW was a merger of what used to be the WB and UPN.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And WB is where we got great content like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel. They had some good family content like Seventh Heaven and Everwood and things like that. And then somewhere along the line, UPN and CW merged and became, or UPN and WB merged and became the CW. And that's what continued. Oh, they also had Smallville in the WB, and Supernatural started on the WB, which eventually became the CW. And then the CW, of course, started launching their superhero stuff, their Arrowverse. And it started out strong, but then, like most shit on TV, it just went woke. And I mean, when you're looking at the numbers of the shows they have, they're getting like 0.89 on the, they're getting like 0.89, 0.79 on the viewing. And I'm like, okay, I know this is a small channel, but seriously, just about any other channel I know of. I mean, that's why NBC took Supergirl off its channel and moved it over to the CW, because Supergirl was only getting like 1.7 on NBC, which is basically an instant cancellation.
Yeah, 7 years ago, I stopped. I was watching all those CW superhero series for a bit, but I could feel something was going wrong with the content. It just wasn't fun, and it was unbalanced. It was unrealistic. Now, saying unrealistic in the superhero context does seem daft, but what I mean is that they were not behaving like human beings anymore. And I think it was the early seasons of Supergirl, which is where I stopped watching after one or two of that. Like, this isn't good anymore. And I was really enjoying Legends of Tomorrow from the first season and second season, but again, it was going off the rails. Something weird was happening to the narrative, the way they were projecting stories. And at that point, I was like, sod it. And I stopped watching Arrow and the Flash around the same time.
Yeah, Arrow just went down the hill. I don't even know what happened at the end. I didn't finish it. Flash was becoming too much like a goddamn daytime soap opera. And Legends of Tomorrow, what killed me was the best character, I thought, White Canary. They turned her from being a strong woman into basically a lesbian slut.
Hey, yep, Stargate, and hey, Busco Scenario, what's going on?
Yeah, Stargate brings up a good point. That's one of the reasons I had some guy giving me shit about DS9 and Voyager. And I said, actually, I didn't get to watch those all the way through until I bought them, and Enterprise, because, DS9 I did. But Voyager and Enterprise, I didn't get to watch all the way through until after I bought them, because UPN was syndicated, which meant you didn't necessarily, if UPN wasn't in your area, you weren't going to be able to watch shows. In most of the areas I was living in, there was no UPN available to us. So Voyager and Enterprise came. I don't think I got to watch those all the way through until about 2006, 2007, after both had finished. And my cable, and I looked at my cable channel, and when I had cable, because I haven't had cable in, 10, 11 years now.
Good morning, Resolute Germ.
Isn't that an interesting thing? Who would have thought we'd actually have been like, oh, I don't need cable anymore?
Yeah, I don't have a television. I only watch stuff using the internet because I've got a projector and I've got a laptop that has the media server. That's more than enough television for me, but I don't need any signal coming into this place.
Now, Dr. Alex, you're in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't have to pay the license fee, right?
No, people right now are only realizing this, but it has been the case for quite a long time. I know this because I've not paid the license fee for, it must be getting on, we're pushing 10 years. Let's say 8 years I've not paid the license fee because I've not had TV in that long, and you can apply to not pay the license fee. I kind of did pay it for a little bit longer because I was liking Doctor Who and watching that. But then in the end, I didn't like it enough to continue paying. There were enough things wrong with the BBC by that point. So, no, I'm not supporting this anymore. And in fact, if you look back on my channel, there's a video which says, when the BBC became worthless, it's earlier than you think. And that video tells you exactly why I stopped paying the license fee and the reasons for it. But yeah, I don't. You have to apply to do so. They chase you like every 6 months initially, and now they've given up. I haven't had a letter for years saying, are you sure you don't need it? Yeah, I'm sure. Thanks.
I've got the internet. I'm good.
yeah. And any number of other sources of information.
I had a question, just out of curiosity. Is the licensing fee a monthly thing, a yearly thing?
It's yearly usually.
Yearly.
I don't know if there was a for people with lower incomes, if there was a way of splitting it. I think there might have been. I can't remember now. It's so long, I can't remember. You might be able to split it, but I remember it being a monthly thing. Maybe I did pay it. Sorry, I thought it was yearly. Maybe I did pay it monthly, but I know it's about now, 160, 170 quid for a year, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
If you have to do it.
Now, did I hear right? The BBC is losing the rights to Doctor Who, or are they selling the rights? I don't know if you know.
Well, they've hired Russell T Davies back again to run it after they've kicked Chimbal out the door, which is obviously something they should have done a long time ago, but not just him, I suspect. But I think RTD is doing it partly under Netflix. He's doing it with his own private company, which is Bad Wolf, or he's certainly involved in that company. So it's Bad Wolf Productions, Russell T Davies, Netflix, and the BBC will be co-running it or co-sponsoring it, I suppose, or commissioning it. That's it. Co-commissioning would be the easiest way of saying it.
And when is Chibnall done? When is his era done?
Well, his season is finished. He's now had 2 specials out, has he? Not that I've seen any of it. I've watched the reviews of it with great interest and hilarity, but I've not seen them. But I think he's got 1 or 2 more specials to come. He's special in the loosest sense of the word.
Are there any hints at when they're going to reveal who the new Doctor's going to be?
Well, I don't think anything from Russell T Davies is likely to be out until 2023, I think. Unless I could be, I'm a bit out of the loop with the actual production schedule and stuff. But there is the 100th anniversary, which would be in 2023. So that might be where he. Sorry, the 50th anniversary. Brain. Wait, 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, which is in 2023. I think RTD's on board for that. I think so. That might be the first we see from him in 2023. So plenty of time for me to do another season.
I kind of feel bad for Yeah, I kind of felt bad when I learned a little bit when I was starting to review my history of Doctor Who about 8-9 years ago, and realized the first episode came out, and what happened? Oh, everybody was watching the news about the JFK assassination.
Mm.
I was like, shit! Talk about bad timing.
Yeah, I know, but it survived.
It
And
survived.
I think
Yes.
I think its viewership went up over that season, unlike any Chimble season you could get a pick.
What was it? There was a TV movie made sometime back. I can't remember the name of it, that talked about the beginning of Doctor Who and how it came about.
It was
And
quite recent.
yeah, the gentleman who was playing the William Hartnell character actually played the first Doctor in, I think, the final episode of Peter Capaldi's era.
Yep.
And I can't remember the name of the damn movie though.
Something in Time and Space. I can't remember the exact name of it either.
Adventures in Time and Space. There you go. Yeah, that was actually pretty enjoyable, and I thought he did a real good job of playing the William Hartnell character of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Both playing William Hartnell and playing Doctor Who.
Yeah. I think in the documentary, David Bradley was very good. I think in the final Capaldi episode, he was not good, but not because of his acting, because the writing was well off.
I would agree with that.
There are so many things wrong with the first Doctor in that. The first Doctor is the youngest Doctor. I know he looks old, but he is the first regeneration. Stop behaving like he's an old man. He should be treating the 12th Doctor as an old senile old fool, because that's where they are in their lifespan, you twits. Secondly, his ideas are not the ideas of the 60s. He has the ideas of Time Lords from the far future, you twits. So again, this is Moffat. So Moffat, maybe he was under pressure from the management of the BBC, but his writing was way off for the first Doctor, despite having a great actor to play him. The way it was written was utter shite. And in the first episode of my the Doctor season 12, I take the piss out of that right royally, as well as all the Chimble crap as well.
I think I made it 3 episodes into Jodie Whittaker's role as a Doctor, and I was like, I hated the last season of Capaldi's, even though I absolutely loved Capaldi's character.
Yep.
I just didn't like. I couldn't stand Bill to save my life.
I didn't care about Bill, but it was just not well written as far as I was concerned.
She was a very poorly written companion. I just didn't care for her. Also, I still have an issue with something about a woman being called Bill doesn't really make a whole lot of damn sense to me.
I don't know. I'm currently watching a Doctor with a companion called Joe. I can cope.
But yeah, that was just, I didn't like her very much. I really did not like that last season. For me right now, I've stated Doctor Who pretty much ended for me with the Husbands of River Song. I thought that was a very nicely done episode. And I said, if I could find an end point anywhere, that would be my end point.
I would still take all of Capaldi's, even though it has weaknesses. It's like I wouldn't throw out Sylvester McCoy, although me and my friends were very happy when he got shot in the movie. But that's not the point. In comparison to things right now,
actually, Dr. Alex, I'll tell you a funny story. That was actually the first time I ever saw a Doctor Who, because remember it got released in America, and at the time when it got released, Doctor Who wasn't a big staple in America. We didn't, it had fans, but we didn't have the internet and everything like we have now to promote it. So I watched that movie and had no goddamn clue what was going on. I was a kid when it came out. And who was the Doctor from that movie? I've drawn a blank on it.
Paul McGann.
Paul McGann. And I eventually later, as I started watching Doctor Who, because a buddy of mine had all Doctor Who, basically almost all the Doctor from first season on up to, I think at that point, up to maybe the second season of the guy who replaced Tennant. Now I'm drawing a blank on my Doctor names, but
Matt Smith.
Yeah, Matt Smith. And so I started from the beginning because I'm that kind of person. I want to watch from the beginning, and went through. Really loved. I'll be honest. I really loved John Pertwee
Mm.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved him. He was actually the doctor I enjoyed the most for a long time, even more than
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker. I know a lot of people that's their favorite, and I can definitely see why. I just
Yeah.
something about Pertwee just really kind of just stood out to me.
He
At
is
that
brilliant.
point.
But don't spoil it too much because I'm halfway through his run right now. I am the world's worst Doctor Who writer and fan because I hadn't watched any of the first three Doctors, and I grew up with the fourth Doctor. So the fourth Doctor is my Doctor. I was born with him, and he died, and part of my love of Doctor Who died with him. But I hadn't seen virtually any of 1, 2, and 3 because they didn't repeat it much when I was a kid. A lot of it was missing, of course, for 1 and 2, and they just kept showing the stuff they were currently showing. They didn't show much. I'd seen like one episode of the first Doctor, I think, 1 or 2 maybe maximum of the second, and a few smatterings of the third Doctor. So I knew what they were and I knew what they looked like, but I had a very shaky understanding until now. The one good thing about Chimbal is that I've gone back because I had nothing else to watch, and I finally started watching first Doctor, now the second Doctor, now halfway through the third Doctor. So I'm enjoying this. This is I understand so much more about Doctor Who than I knew before I even wrote a lot of this stuff. So it is really good, isn't it?
The funny thing is, I've seen some Doctor Who. I'm not a Whovian by any means, but I would have to say the second Doctor was my favorite.
And unfortunately, he's the one whose most of his work was missing or destroyed. But one of the things I was able to do was I was able to, a lot of people had put either some people have actually put animation together to the audio, and then some of them have just been still photos with the audio still available. Yeah. And what I was going with was when I finally got to the movie with Paul McGann, I started watching it, I was like, oh shit, this is the movie I saw back in the 90s. I just didn't make the connection, until I saw that. I will say this: Paul McGann is a great doctor. If you ever get to listen to him from Big Finish production.
Yep, I know. I had to put up with a lot of that stuff in my earlier life as a Doctor Who person because I was working for Big Finish, but not very much, and not in the way that my flatmate was, particularly one of them, because he was editing for Big Finish, and so I got a lot of this stuff secondhand. But I actually wrote my second Big Finish story as a Paul McGann story, having seen nothing but the movie, and I heard stuff about him, but I didn't. I'm not very good at listening to their work or reading their stuff. I had other things to read, so I wrote it as I wanted it to be, but I didn't know a lot of the backstory. So I put it as far into the Eighth Doctor's life, near the end of his life, as I could. And I gave him a bit of amnesia or senility, so he didn't have to remember stuff. So I just sidestepped as much of his backstory as possible so I could write my Eighth Doctor story. Thankfully, everyone thought it was amazingly researched and it slotted in perfectly to the end of his life. And, how could you got it spot on? I was like, yeah, that was by not getting too bogged down with everything that already existed. Sorry about that. But yes, I think Paul McGann is brilliant, and his Eighth Doctor portrayal, I have heard the odd bit. I'm not completely ignorant of it. He is brilliant and a brilliant actor as well. So yeah, it's a shame he didn't get more on screen. Reminded me, it's a shame he didn't get more on screen presence. But of course, that 5-minute special that they did for YouTube was brilliant. He was fantastic in that. That was like such a missed opportunity. You could have brought him back. You could have had a season with him in the modern era, for God's sake.
Oh, I think are you talking Night of the Doctor?
Yeah,
where Paul McGann turns into John Hurt,
the War Doctor. Yes,
the War Doctor. Actually, I thought that was a pretty good short movie. I really enjoyed it.
It was. In spite of the fact I have problems with the War Doctor as a concept, I also have a problem with the way they count regenerations in the new era as well. In fact, if you watch my latest episode, season 13, episode 8, there's a big chunk where Romana and the Doctor are arguing about how many regenerations he's actually had, and a lot of it comes down to me sniping at these supposed regenerations that he's had that are in addition to the 12 he's meant to have, basically. So there's a big argument.
They're going to change. They're going to change that. I mean, just mark my word. They're going to change that in some kind of way, he'll either get an additional 12 regenerations, or somebody else said, well, in some cases, they become unlimited. Congratulations. What?
Oh God, I hope
Something,
they do.
they'll change that.
I hope they don't say unlimited. The problem with the Matt Smith injection at the end of his reign was how many freaking regenerations has he got now? You've just given him 1,000 even just giving them more regenerations. It removes the narrative tension. You can't have your character die. Basically, he just keeps popping up again and again and again. Like,
Yeah.
we need.
There is a time. There is a time that they did bring up, and I don't remember which doctor it was, but they offer the master, for his help, a new cycle of regenerations.
Yes,
so
that's true.
There is apparently that ability that was established, that there is an ability that they can have more regeneration cycles than the quote unquote 12.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was the master played by Anthony Ainley. He ended up with more regenerations. If I'm remembering
I can't remember.
correctly, remember, he squared off against Tom Baker's doctor a few times, and he was like this burn victim. He was,
Crispy Master. Yeah.
He was in real bad shape. And then
he was.
He did something to what's the name?
He basically stole Mrs. Father's body.
Yeah. And that gave him more regenerations some kind of way.
I think he was still on the one body, and it wasn't a Time Lord body. There were problems, I think, in the Sylvester McCoy era where he was struggling with that body because it wasn't a proper Time Lord body. But I'm going on very shaky memories from when I was a kid, virtually.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
But on the subject of Crispy Master, I would recommend you go and watch my amazing The Three Masters, where I've basically got the Delgado Master, Ainley Master, and in the middle of them, of course, Crispy Master, working together to try and defeat the Doctor. It's a complete piss take story, but I enjoyed it.
Crispy, I never thought about it.
You probably know this, Doctor. Delgado and Pertwee were good friends.
Yeah.
So after Delgado died, which I believe was a car accident, and there was talk of maybe doing another master, him regenerating, and Pertwee was like, "Not with me."
Yeah,
he said, "Not with me."
I half heard that they were one of the reasons he stepped down from the role was because of the death of the master.
I think I heard something similar too.
Yeah, it was a damn shame because I'm watching it right again. Please don't spoil it for me. I'm only about. Where am I now? I'm at the Time Monster right now. But Delgado's master. Obviously, it's not my master. My master was Crispy and Ainley because I was Fourth Doctor to begin with. But Delgado, even now, even before I'd watched them, was in my mind the master, and he is the best. He's practically chewing the scenery. He's gratified when people say you're so despicably evil, and you go, why, thank you. He's just the best possible villain. It's like, yeah, I know why this is the master. This is the master.
I like Ainley's master better, though. He had a bit of the mustache twirling to his personality.
Yeah,
and I just kind of sometimes I like that in a bad guy.
Delgado, bizarrely, I can't believe I'm saying this, was a bit more subtle though. He could do sort of layers. He could play trickster. He could play someone in disguise as the master. More than Ainley, I think. Ainley was like, "Master."
It just went well with, especially with the Third Doctor, that type of person, that type of master.
Delgado and Pertwee, I think, got on very, as we just kind of talked about, got on very well, and they play off each other brilliantly on screen. They are just a fantastic pairing of
they
villains.
Do have great chemistry. Yeah, they have great
again?
chemistry. Yeah, they have great chemistry.
Indeed.
Fantastic chemistry. I think that was probably one of the best interactions between the Doctor and the Master incarnations. I mean, we gotten some good ones later. Ainley, yes, was good. I don't disagree with that. I kind of got to give it to Delgado, though. I got to give it to the OG guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad I'm getting to watch it now. I'm already feeling sad because I know I've got only half of his stuff left to go, and yeah, then there'll be no more.
Here. Good morning, Channel 66. Professor points out 13 lives, 12 regenerations.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Professor Brainy Specs. So yeah, the 13th Doctor should be the one who's had his 12th regeneration, which again is something that I bring up quite a bit in season 12 and season 13, and it's kind of there's an important point about the number of regenerations in season 13, even though it wasn't really, it's in season 12, but it's brought up again by Romana quite heavily in episode 7, of the current season. I say current season, I mean my season, of course, our season.
Correct.
I'm surprised they haven't brought Romana back more. I know she came in some of the big Finnish productions, but I don't understand why they haven't brought her back more.
Damn right, that's why I did.
Okay, now who's the better Romana? Romana 1 or Romana 1.2?
1.2?
The second one.
That's Romana 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, Romana 1, Mary Tam, hands down. I always thought Lala Ward, even as a kid, and even though I saw more Lala Ward as a kid than I did Mary Tam, I always thought she was a bit wet. Whereas Mary Tam was like, Mary Tam's like my childhood, crazy ideas coming from nowhere. My childhood recollections of Wonder Woman are, of course, oh my God, it's gone out of my head. Her name, quickly.
Linda Carter.
Thank you, Linda Carter. Brilliant. Yeah, Linda Carter, as my formative ideas of what a female superhero was, bang, that's Wonder Woman. Tall, dark-haired. Romana 1, tall, dark-haired. Has strength, has gravitas, has personality. This is ingraining me for my female preferences for the rest of my life, I suspect.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, and she had that disco honey, air about her since it was like the 70s.
Sorry, I just read Professor Brady Specs is disagreeing violently. No, Lala Ward was better. Sorry, no. Mary Tam.
You're going to be hard pressed to find a bigger Whovian than Professor Brady Specs. That much I have found. He knows his Doctor Who.
Yeah,
I don't claim to be a Whovian in any way. I mean, I'm a fan of Doctor Who, but I don't claim to be a Whovian. Yeah. Professor Brady Specs is a Whovian, hands down.
Yeah. I can still disagree with his tastes, though.
Well, yeah. Of course.
The second Romana just looked too much like a little girl.
Yeah. Very wet.
The first one, she looked adult, and she was smarter than the Doctor, and she didn't mind telling him when he was wrong.
Yes, that was the kind of, they had virtual parity, but they both had weaknesses. She was inexperienced. He was somewhat careless, and they balanced each other out, which is, of course, back to me, because it's all about me, which is, of course, exactly what I'm trying to get in season 12 and 13. I want this virtual parity between the characters. They complement each other and they support each other, but no one dominates really. I mean, it's about the Doctor, let's be clear, but they are a team. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that's what they failed to do with Romana the first time, because Mary Tam quit because her role had got whittled down over her one season run, where she was almost reduced, she felt, to being just the "Ooh, save me, Doctor" female in the background. So the writers, and I don't know how much pressure there was from Tom Baker, but they failed to live up to the promise of what they'd initially promised with Romana, and that's what I hope to now do now.
And she was like, "What's that? Too much to be a Time Lord." It should have been things she knew about that he didn't know about, because she actually graduated with honors and he barely got out of the academy. So
on the second attempt,
I love how she always brings that up. She's like,
"Yes,
you failed it. Did you fail that subject?"
Yeah.
She pointed out. I mean, she was the one who pointed out his flaws. Like, okay, you're not the smartest man in the world or the galaxy.
You've still got to go and watch my episode 7. I think.
Oh, I would agree. Good morning or good afternoon, Dalek 451. I know you're a Whovian, so you're more than welcome to join.
Whiny and annoying. That's Dalek 451. Yeah, Lala Waterman was all kind of whiny and annoying. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, didn't like her anywhere near as much as Mary Tams.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
sorry, my brain's now come back. Season 8, episode 8, the last one that was produced and put up by me, has brilliant Romana doing that I graduated higher stuff, and the doctor trying to cut her down, but he's trying to be bullish and bravado filled, and she's cutting him down. It's exactly the kind of interaction you'd like between the two characters. Just really blowing my own horn here, but yeah, it's what I would envision the two characters would behave together, done properly.
Yeah.
Professor Brady Specs. I never thought Romana 2 was whiny and annoying.
I know
No,
a lot of people
somebody else
thought that about Clara.
Yeah.
I thought she was
Yeah.
whiny and annoying.
The problem with Romana 2 was we kept seeing her as that character she was in the last part of the Key to Time series. You know, she was like this little frail princess.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing her as that. And, you know, when they went to Paris and she put on the little girl outfit, I'm like, that is not Romana.
You can't wear somebody else's face.
That was one I always thought was funny, was that little tongue-in-cheek where she's choosing her regeneration. And she just comes back and forth a few times with different, totally looking like an alien in some cases. And then comes back with the same face from the prior time. That was, I thought, funny. And I guess in a way, I don't know how that works. I mean, is it just, can regeneration actually be that controlled if it's not, I mean, let's be honest. The doctor generally, when he regenerates, it's because of some violent death he's about to have.
Yeah,
except for two.
It's funny you should say. Funny you should bring that up. The impression I'm left with from the Romana regeneration is that she's better at that too. That she, does have control over regeneration. Probably most well-trained Time Lords do have some measure of control over their regenerations. I suspect it's just the Doctor is a bit inept and not very good at this stuff, or possibly skipped some classes and just doesn't do it as well as some others. And it's the kind of way he controls the TARDIS as well. Not very well, because he's not as well trained and didn't pay as much attention as he should have done. That is his character. He shouldn't be the bestest ever at doing this stuff. But his strengths are his heart, and also his mind is pretty out there and imaginative. It does have strengths, but his academic rigor isn't necessarily one of them. Sometimes, yes, but not all the time.
Like that episode with River Song in it. And that's what he's like, well, where's the noise? What noise? You're there. It's like, I took the parking brake off. This is such a little so it's like, oh, that's
yeah. Professor and Dave, you're more than welcome on.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what was it when in Husbands of River Song where Capaldi says when they're about to get with the TARDIS and everything, he's like, I've been doing this longer, and she goes, yeah, but I do it better.
Yeah. Done well and done clever, that kind of interplay can work. Or I do think the Husbands of River Song bits were a little bit clumsy, but yeah. The characters, the Doctor should be vulnerable to criticism. There's definitely, because he's not perfect by a long stretch. None of his incarnations have been. His mistakes often cause the problems which then have to be fixed. Something else I do, by the way. But
I always find it funny when you have a Doctor meet another incarnation of himself and they just never really get along.
Again, exactly right. Yeah. So yeah, 12th and 1st shouldn't get along. That bit of Twice Upon a Time was right. I just think the way they did it was wrong.
But that actually makes sense, that the different personalities shouldn't get along, because they're so much alike in the beginning. And so, like, what was it, the 5 Doctors, when Pertwee meets number 2, when number 3 meets number 2, and it's like, goodbye, Stinky, things like that. It was, that makes sense, and that the first doctor would be there to try to keep them apart, because to try to look, we need to get together and figure this out. I mean, not it was the three doctors that episode.
Mhm.
I remember
It took the first doctor to get 2 and 3 to finally work together, and
Yes.
just forget about the personality clash. Here's the situation. We need to fix it. That made sense.
I like in the three doctors where the first doctor, he goes, so these are my replacements, a dandy and a clown.
Yes, exactly.
It's just like he's just so matter of fact about it. He's like, and then the second doctor, when he gets into the TARDIS, oh, you changed the interior. I don't like it. Which of course became a running joke throughout Doctor Who when a new incarnation would come in. It's like, I see you've changed things. I don't like it.
Yeah, that is the correct way to do the different incarnations meeting. They shouldn't really be buddy-buddy. I can't think of any that were strongly buddy-buddy. I suppose Matt Smith and Tennant got on okay when they were meeting the War Doctor, didn't they?
They got along okay, but I thought it was I like how he goes, you're my replacements? Even him pointing to Matt Smith? I just thought that was... And then when they're doing the
midlife crisis, I think he talked about, didn't he?
And then when they're doing the whole doctor thing and all the doctors are there, and it's like Geronimo, LOZ, and you just hear the War Doctor. Oh, he's so annoyed. He's like Gallifrey stands. I mean, it was funny. And then when he's regenerating, and he's because he was only one of, I believe, one of the three incarnations of all of them that actually died, unless I'm wrong about the first Doctor. Weren't the first, the War Doctor and Matt Smith, weren't they the only ones to really die of old age?
Just thinking, probably.
Because the second Doctor was forced to regenerate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't normally get to die in bed.
Because I know Paul McGann, when he becomes the War Doctor, he is dying. That's stated by the witches on the planet.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken,
I referred to my episode 8 for my comments, or rather Romana's comments on the Sisterhood of Khan, and what they really did to the Doctor. Did they really make him regeneration, or did they just give him a shot of anabolic steroids and a face drop? I mean, I cast some doubt upon the whole thing. And Dalek said something or other about River Song, and the comment, I can't remember what it was.
Cap, can you bring it up? It's Dalek 451-1015.
I know what it is.
Pointless retcon. Oh yeah. Another. Yeah, I already sort of said I didn't like the some of the River Song dialogue in that, and he's saying that other Time Lord texts been shown to make that sound. Yeah, every other freaking TARDIS you've ever seen makes that freaking sound. So yeah, it was a stupid line. It was, as I said originally, clumsy. It was not well done.
I took it I thought it was a joke. I thought she just was making a joke.
Yeah, it's okay if you take it as a joke, but it's not if you think if she's in any way being serious, then that's just dumb.
True enough. It was too bad. I know I read that Tom Baker, they used scenes from an episode that wasn't used for him in the Five Doctors because he felt it was too soon to come back. And I believe I remember reading later, he says he ultimately regretted that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think some of the scenes they used were from City of Death, and some of them were from Sharda, which never got properly made, if I remember rightly. I think, from my fuzzy memory of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of freaking episodes. I mean, we're talking, God, what, over 1,000 episodes now? Pretty close to it.
Yeah,
Actually,
most of the Tom Baker I only saw the first time when I was maximum 7 years old when he regenerated.
Huh.
So yeah, got a long way to remember.
What did you think of? Well, since you started watching it very early on, and you started with Tom Baker, what did you think of when Tom Baker regenerated and became Peter Davison?
I suffered the same loss that I think everyone does when their doctor dies. Everyone after that was a disappointment to some degree. I already had preconceptions about come on, you know his name, Davison, Peter Davison. I had preconceptions about him because I've been forced to watch All Creatures Great and Small, which might be a fantastic program, but not for a 6, 7-year-old kid. And I was bored witless by him. He'd done readings on Jack and Ori as well, which was great. He could read stories well, awesome. But he was not the fun leaping through the air. Got the robot dog, boom, a massive scarf. He was not Tom Baker. And so I was always a little bit, he was fine. I still watched it and he was good, but he was nowhere near as good as Tom Baker. And then from there on, it got steadily worse. So when Colin Baker Minor, as we used to call him, when Colin Baker came in, not his fault, but the writing and the production problems really shook his run up badly, even though there are some strong bits to it. And then by the time Sylvester McCoy stepped in, it was like, oh my God, you've got a licorice all sorts man. Yeah, I got very switched off by that point. Hence our jubilation when he got gunned down multiple times in a back alley. But yeah, there you go. That's a quick how I felt after my doctor died. Increasingly disappointed.
Yeah, well, it was hard. It was hard to top Tom Baker.
Damn
because
right.
Tom Baker had a hard act to follow after coming behind Pertwee, and he pulled it off. Because those are my two favorite doctors, Pertwee and Baker. Because Pertwee, I mean, yeah, you could see him as the scientist type, but dirty old man, but he was, the scientist type. Because I mean, and I've been wondering, did BBC do that on purpose? Always having him with a young girl companion, that was, and he kind of dressed like a old guy that was trying to be a hipster in the first place,
Yeah.
So
I think it was Zvi Lebetkin pointed out that he was dressed like Jimi Hendrix virtually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Why did they do it? I was thinking about this the other day as well. Now, funny you should mention that. But the odd companions, the perpetual young companions they had all the way through. That's what it reminded me of. It's the no hanky panky in the TARDIS thing. So until Tennant and Billie Piper, where she gets a version of him at the end, there hadn't been any allowed relationship between the Doctor and anyone, but Pertwee did keep losing companions with certain regret. When Liz Shaw, the first companion, goes with Pertwee, he's pissed off. Clearly, he wanted this intelligent person working around him. When Joe leaves, there's a letter sent to him that I think Elizabeth Sladen, Sarah Jane reads. We're saying, "Oh, she's found some man in South America doing archaeology," and she says he reminds him. She's reminded a lot of the Doctor by him. So there's this implication that there was an element of attraction and attachment from the female companions to the Doctor, at least in that direction as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was just you could see it there with Liz, but it was like she was too busy fighting with Lethbridge Stewart, because he was always, need to come with me, need somebody to take notes, we might need coffee later on. That was I'm like, okay, you kind of let that go. Yeah, you can see Lethbridge as a chauvinist.
Yeah.
And then
I was actually a bit disappointed when Liz Shaw left. Was she only in it for the one season?
Was it just one season?
I don't know. It wasn't very long anyway, but when she left, I thought, damn, she was actually a good companion.
Yeah, she was almost as smart as the Doctor, but in an Earth type way.
Yeah,
You know,
she's edging
she could-
into the Romana territory,
Yeah.
but not quite.
she could follow along with his reasoning when
Yeah.
scientific stuff. And then Joe comes along, you know. That was a love story between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, but she is a bit like the work experience placement person. It's like, she knows nothing.
And then with Sarah Jane, okay, spoiled little girl, perfect for Baker,
Yeah.
not so much for Pertwee.
She had some dynamism because she was a journalist, so she had something. She had a career of sorts,
Yeah.
so there was something to her at least.
So, according to this, Liz Shaw was in the. Let's see, Liz Shaw was in a season, just one, and Joe Grant was in 70 to 73.
Yeah, she was in it for quite a while. Yeah,
And
almost
didn't,
three, but not quite.
what's her name? Sarah Jane. She was his the third Doctor's last companion before his regeneration to the fourth Doctor, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm correct, I think she was the longest running companion at the time.
I don't know. She was in it for a while, that's for sure. But yeah, they did this very early on. They used companions to bridge Doctors. So even from the first Doctor to the second Doctor, they pick up. God, I've always forget his name. Ben and Polly. So Ben and Polly's picked up at the end of the first Doctor stories, and then carries through at least to the first few stories of the second Doctor, and then you've got Jamie for the rest of it, virtually, with others popping in and out. And then for the second to the third is the only one you don't have a companion that carries over, but you've got Lethbridge Stewart. Lethbridge Stewart's established at the end of some of the stories of the second Doctor, picks up in the third. So they're very good at bridging Doctors with companions right from the get-go.
And Stewart, if I'm not mistaken, started out with the second Doctor, was with the third and fourth, and was he back for? I know he was there for the seventh Doctor for at least.
He did pop in for the seventh, yeah.
But I don't think I can't recall if he was around for the fifth and sixth Doctor.
I don't remember. I was wondering the same thing, but I don't think so.
No,
but Professor Brainy Specs will probably tell us.
I don't think. No, he did. I think the last. Wait, he was with. He did do one. He did do one set of series with. Oh God, what's his name? McCoy.
Yeah, there was that.
He
remember there was the woman. There was the woman brigadier that had taken over. Unit. It was like a King Arthur type episode.
Professor Brady Speck says there was one story with Stewart and the fifth Doctor.
Fifth Doctor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. Let me see.
Eventually I'll get to that, I'm sure, as I work my way forward through Doctor Who.
I mean, I enjoyed the episode with the seventh Doctor when Stewart came back, and he goes and he finally meets the Doctor, and he's like, "How you doing, Doctor?" He goes, "How do you know it's me?" He goes, "Where would you be? Where when the end is coming, where would you be?" Which I thought was a very nice something they did with Peter Capaldi when it turned out the conscience of Stewart is in
the Cyberman.
Cylon. And, he's like, of course, where would you be when the world is about to end? And then, he salutes him.
Yes.
And I thought that was I didn't care for that season that much overall, but I thought that was a very enjoyable moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maldron Undead. Okay. Yeah, that was the name of it. With the fifth Doctor.
It was always interesting. Stewart seemed to be the one who really could navigate the different Doctors.
Yes.
He really seemed to have a way of just, navigating between the second, the third. And then I thought it was funny, when you get to the regeneration between the third and the fourth. And Here we go again.
Yes, he's got quite relaxed and blasé about the whole thing by that point. Yeah.
Well, at this point, he's. I mean, his first appearance was, I believe, dealing with the Yeti with the second Doctor.
Yeah.
And I think he was a
Yeah.
colonel at the time. I think he was Colonel Stewart at the time.
Yep. I think he gets his brigadiership in the last story where he's with the second Doctor, which is the invasion, isn't it?
You'd have to ask Professor Brady Spix.
Definitely, the Cybermen were all over the place. Let's put it that way. But I think he'd become brigadier by that point. And yeah,
what did you think of? I have a question for you guys. What did you guys think of K9?
I love K9.
Yeah,
Don't
K9.
I never hear a bad thing about K9.
Yeah.
Watch my series.
K9 was fun. That was fun. That was the one companion that was probably slightly above the Doctor.
Master?
Yeah.
I like when he comes when Sarah Jane Smith comes back in Tennant's run, and there's K9, and he's like, Master, and it's just like he already knows it's the Doctor. Yeah. Even though he hasn't seen the Doctor in how many regenerations, and he's like, Master, he automatically. And when the guy who the villain, he's like, bad dog, he goes, affirmative.
Yes, I like K9 a lot. I know some people don't actually like K9. I can't believe it, but it's true apparently. But when I got the opportunity to write, thank you. Who was that? Dave G. Sound. Dave G. Sound. Yeah. K9 does indeed rock. As a kid, I loved K9. The whole setup. No, the Doctor Romana K9 was my childhood ideal of the Doctor. I wonder where I got the idea for season 12 and 13. Anyway, the opportunity to write with those characters is just freaking awesome. And K9 can one up against the Doctor from time to time as well. He can trip the Doctor up or take the piss out of the Doctor in the driest possible way.
And then
he really was a good source of humor. And it seemed like it wasn't even intentional humor. It's just the way he talked. It just made it hilarious. Just the way he said it to him.
Especially when they were playing chess and K9 would mate in 12 moves. He was seeing that far ahead on the board. And then the Doctor had to stupid game anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there was Leela.
Oh, Leela, yes.
It's strange how that actually worked out, especially because they tended to put her and him in like a Victorian setting. A lot of those. And so you got a knife-wielding woman that would much rather wear pants in Victorian England. That was it works though in those episodes.
Not the Janus Thorn. Not the Janus Thorn.
Now, didn't Leela originally wasn't the first K9 incarnation? Didn't she take K9 with her when she left the show?
Yeah, they both stayed on Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And he created another. He built another K9, if I remember.
I think he pulls the K9-2 out of the box after he gets into the TARDIS immediately, having just given her the original K9. Like, whoop! Oh, right. So we're going to continue. The obvious nod to the audience. Yeah, don't worry. The Doctor will still have K9. He's got one already in spare.
He got the original K9 from a doctor on a space station.
He did indeed.
One of the you mentioned Leela, Mr. Lundell. If she was a very different companion because she was a warrior. She came
not only a warrior, she was from like a Stone Age society.
Yep. And she just brought a different role for Tom Baker's character, because this had not been any kind of companion he'd ever had before.
Yeah.
Because she was willing to fight, and she had no quorum with it.
Yeah.
You had to rein her in a few times.
Yeah, he did. No,
Not the chainsaw. No, I liked Leela as well. I've gone back and watched some Tom Baker, not all of it, but yeah. So I've enjoyed the Leela stuff. She's the actress I forgot, Louise Jameson. Apparently is doing a lot of stuff. Coaching the actors for Big Finish, and some of the best performances they've managed to get, not that they've had that many recently, have been with one actor she's been coaching. So good actress, good acting chops.
Oh, be
it's
right
actually
back. I need to make another cup of coffee.
it's surprising she only did one season, but she was in 9 stories and 40 episodes. What were they? They were serialized about a half hour, and usually a story
About
arc
25 minutes.
and a story arc would normally go 4 or 5 episodes sometimes.
Sometimes 6, maybe 7 on the odd occasional one. Yeah, but it's the way they wrote. That's another thing. Watching the old Doctor Who right now, the episodes are 24, 25 minutes max, and they tell so much. And it reminded me, you can tell a complete story in 25 minutes. All the Batman, the animated series, all the single episode stories, they are stories in 25 minutes. You can do it. You can get a hell of a lot in if you're succinct and don't waste time, dialogue, description badly.
I've seen some. One of the things I love about Cobra Kai is as much as they tell in just a very short amount of time, with right now only being in season 4, 40 episodes, but they've managed to tell an amazing story each season with amazing characters and managed to say, okay, we've got 30 minutes or so. We got to keep it tight, but we want our characters to grow.
And they succeeded, yeah, presumably.
It's been a great show. Absolutely, as a fan of the Karate Kid movies growing up. What I said was I said something a little while back, and I kind of says is these characters, these actors, because they're all the original actors from the Karate Kid movies, and they slip back into these roles literally like the 80s was a couple of weeks ago.
Amazing. Unfortunately, I've got to go. We have somewhere I have to. To be fair, I've booked a swim. I've got to go and throw myself into a pool and
Go.
get knackered.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Dr. Alex. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Take care, bud. Well, Cap, it's actually time for me to bow out as well. My wife just got back, so I've got to run into Illinois for some things.
All right. You take
Thanks
care.
for having me on. It was great seeing you again. Mr. Londell, great to always see you, and Ahura. You guys take care.
All right. So, what's next?
What's next? Well, let me ask you something. I'm sure you've heard about the controversy on Twitch about some of the idiots over there who are showing new content, not old, not the kind of stuff you would use,
Uh-huh.
and posting it on Twitch and then bitching because they got suspended.
That's copyrighted material.
Exactly.
Okay. Unless now
they weren't commenting on it. They weren't. It wasn't commentary. They were simply watching it and making an occasional comment.
Oh no, you can't do that. Now if I'm not mistaken, you can get the rights to show this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, just like a television station can. They get the rights to show certain movies.
Oh, absolutely.
You can do that, but it costs you money.
Yeah.
And
no. These were people that were suspended because they wanted to make money while showing somebody else's content. And yeah, I found it funny because somebody made a video about it, and they were saying, well, if I were to post this person's content, they would probably complain about it.
Uh-huh.
But they're the first person to show you somebody else's content. Yeah. And again, not for commentary, not for means, not for the legitimate copyright reasons where you can
Yeah.
use it for commentary, for blah, 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 all the other exceptions.
Well, even that's kind of squirrely, because especially with YouTube, you can they try that, and a lot of content, a lot of them they'll just say no. CBS is bad about that.
Well,
You know.
that's my issue. Isn't the ones that are putting out clips. I get the clips. That I think that CBS is being idiotic in that.
Yeah, they are.
They're trying to make legitimate commentary about the clip that they're using, and they are actually providing a greater amount both prior to and after showing the clip to put it in context and to make commentary about it.
Huh.
But they're not showing an entire TV show. They're not showing an episode or a movie or whatever and making little, ha ha ha, that was funny.
Yeah, but look how many times people have been burned, trying to do commentary using clips from any Trek show. They
Oh, God,
jump
yes.
on that. They jump on that. They don't believe there's is such thing as that common usage,
Yeah.
even though the law provides for it. So
I'm definitely in support of the. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely in support of the content creator who wants to use a clip, who wants to, go into depth about something that's happening in this thing. But when you're talking about stealing somebody else's work entirely and just using it for your own, no, I mean that would be like me taking, oh yeah, I took these that one clip of Salty Trekker, his objective review of Star Trek, whatever the movie it was. Okay,
yeah.
okay, I thought I was doing out of humor. I took out, and I did it for Captain Redneck. I took out. They did two things. Took out all the little ums and uhs that Salty was or Anti Trucker was doing at the time. The other thing was I took out everything positive he said about the movie. Everything. So and I it was just so funny. Redneck loved it, by the way. He's what I miss. But
And it still got a strike.
no, thank God it didn't. Now his might have, but I love that because at least Salty wasn't one of those that did a content ID match thing. I would have. And it's one of the few places you can actually see his commentary on it because he kind of made all of his content previously is now unlisted.
Well, there's no telling what he's doing. So and
So let's see here. We got the people in the chat. Of course, Professor and Dalek are talking a lot, but I was hoping they would come up here.
Huh.
So what's going on, everybody? How is your Sunday going so far? I know you're. Let's see here. It's 9, so it's about quarter till 4, I think, for Dalek. So how's your late afternoon, early evening going? Used to air winnings here. Okay, so it was awful. And redesign of K9 was ridiculous. Also, the special effects sucked. And of course, Professor agrees. Uh, come on up here.
That's what is he talking about? The New Adventures of Sarah Jane, or whatever the name of it was.
Not sure. I would love to hear more. And hello, Eastland Burkholder. Rained neighbor left for church. Slammed the door. Otherwise, all good.
Okay, let me go grab my cup of coffee right quick.
Go for it. I'm going to be getting me a cup of coffee in a little bit as well, because I haven't had that much yet. Dave G. says, I'm winding down Cap, got to do chores and then lunch. Maybe see you around later. See you later, folks. Well, see you later, Dave. Have a good one. I gotta highlight this. Ha, hold on. Is it legal to go tear down my neighbor's door off the hinges? So they have to fix it and make it quieter. Yeah, I know that is illegal. Well, yeah, unfortunately. Uh, hmm. Unfortunately, yeah, that's illegal. You could try to talk to them about it.
Why would you want to tear the doors off of hinges? Kind of violent, isn't it?
Well, the neighbors slammed their door, and so I would say, WD-40, but that
Yeah.
would only be creaky. Slamming it, I don't know. So let's see here. Got the Hoovians in the chat.
Yeah.
Nobody.
They're afraid to come up.
Yeah. So since we're up here alone, what do you like about Odyssey?
I'm not getting hassled about about the content. I was always getting somebody challenging on YouTube. Uh, Somebody's always claiming content that's public domain. I've got like 3 sources I can check to see if something is in the public domain. And it jives with all 3 of those, then I'll put it up.
Mm-hmm.
I kept getting people, I mean, you know, kept challenging stuff. And I find, you just keep on according to this site, it's in the
Yep.
public domain. And whoever was doing the challenging, they would still wait. It's like they were drawing money off of it before they would say, okay, it's public domain. Or sometimes they would say no, and then I'd have to go through it all again. So I'm like, okay.
Well,
I,
the first challenge is nothing. The second challenge, however, yeah, you better be ready to legally stand up and say in court, blah blah blah. It's like you can't do that. So,
yeah.
but is there anything you miss about doing YouTube?
Just I can't premiere or do like a live stream, but I can work around that. I have to get so much of the crypto money before I can do a live stream. And that's
Actually, there are ways around it because I'm able to live stream over there. So actually, all you need to do is contact them, and they'll be able to do it for you. I have found they are very accommodating, and so yeah, they are very uh, from my experience, very creator centered, unlike
yeah.
YouTube. And Rosewood asks, "How much more of the crypto do you need?" Let's pull it down.
Uh it's like let me check this. Um I'm at 46.97. I need 50. And I can do one live stream.
Well, the thing is, you can keep. Technically, mine is one live stream. It just starts over again.
Oh, okay. So I need to go back in and reread up on
Yeah.
text to do a live stream.
Like I said, and good morning or good afternoon, Dalek 451.
But other than that, I mean, I'm picking up subscribers, and you know people seem to like the content. I've linked it with a couple of Facebook uh, groups, that are into these types of movies.
Cool.
And I seem to be getting hits from them and the like. So, you know, it's just something to have fun. It was always just something to have fun with. Anyway,
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead and put your Odyssey link in if you don't mind.
okay. Put it in the public chat. That's my Odyssey channel. If you like those old goofy movies, nice and cheesy, you'll find them there. If not, if not there, I can. If I don't have it, I can probably get it.
As long as it's in fact, let me go ahead here. Go to your channel real quick. Support. Uh,
Oh no, Gap. I have a Twitter, but it's mostly political stuff.
all right. Check your cryptocurrency, please.
It hasn't come through yet.
Okay. It should soon. It just deducted on my side.
Uh,
It took about a minute.
Why did it? No, why did it select that and not the proper one? Okay. Anyway, okay. Now that you can actually hear me, good. Yeah, good. I suppose. Good morning, Captain Track.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I've
I know you've got stuff going on. I'm
I've
sorry
been
about that.
I've definitely. I'm not too bad right now, but I've definitely been. Well, obviously, last couple of days I've could have definitely been better.
Yeah.
Because what happened on. Because obviously, I'm sure you know what happened. What I told everyone what happened on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. I happened to be in chat on Doomcock's chat on Friday, so I saw that, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear about your loss.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, what me and Professor Brain Express were talking about, it was this not the Sarah Jane Adventures. It was a completely different show altogether, simply called K9, and it was
oh yeah.
yeah, and believe me, it is really bad. Because it just wasn't it wasn't because it's not because if you think it's connected to Doctor Who, trust me, it's not. The only thing remotely close to Doctor Who in it was K9, and they completely bossed him up.
Huh.
So yeah, you should have more than enough soon, Mr. Lundell.
Yeah, it went through, and thank you for that, sir.
Absolutely.
Now I just have to. Yeah, I think I'll do. Since I work, since I have Fridays off now, I'll probably do a riff one Friday. I got to pick the best movie to do that.
Ooh. You have any in mind that you're looking at, or
Uh, there's so many of them. Yeah, I have to pick one, watch it 20, 30 times, to find all the jokes. Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Hmm. I'm thinking probably something like Teenagers from Outer Space.
Ooh. And Gab Stargate, you have a good day. And Resolute Germ, enjoy your breakfast. Take care. I think with everybody going, I think I'm going to go ahead and get some breakfast myself. But no, I do want to thank everybody for joining me and everybody who's been in the chat, everybody who's been on the panel. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Uh, but you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Look out for bird streaming later.
Oh yeah, more